Trains, trains, trains. When I was a small boy, standing on the end of railway station platforms, jotting down the numbers of locomotives as they passed, I wanted to be an engine driver. It was one of those daydreams, you know. And there I was, leaning out of the cab, tearing along at 90 at the helm of a lengthy express train down the Great Central Main Line, harking back to those golden days of the South Yorkshireman, or Master Cutler. Well, after many years of hard slog, early mornings, medicals, and long examinations, I'm well on my way. I'm a fireman. Next stop, driver. But this is just one of the many exciting opportunities to work on the railways today. It's not all about the steam, smoke, dirt and grime, but like many other industries, it relies on a dedicated band of people to keep it all going. But what do all these people do? Let's take a look at some of these jobs, and maybe you too would like to join in someday. When I was a boy, my first port of call at any railway station was at the ticket office. But never did I spare a thought for the lady or gentleman behind the ticket office window, so I've had another look at clerks. They have to know every possible combination of journeys and tickets available to passengers, be ready to issue them the correct ticket, and charge the right amount. Of course, in this job there are the many facts they have to know, as well as all the things the public think they ought to know.
Thank you very much.
Chance is that they're the first member of staff to greet a passenger after they arrive. So if you've got a way for helping people, and are good with numbers, then this might just be the job for you.
Have a good trip, sir.
Then of course there's the station porter, perhaps the most versatile of station roles, and one that is aimed at giving you the most thorough grounding of railway knowledge. Here you will learn how to read a timetable, and be given basic knowledge of railway rules and regulations. Whilst going about your duties as a porter, you will pick up a sound understanding of just how the railway works, how to answer passengers' questions, how to keep the station looking in good condition, how to make the passengers feel welcome, and how to ensure they get the most out of their travels. You will learn how to make yourself tidy and presentable, and be given opportunities in how to ensure your uniform is smart, and accurate. A porter's job is one with prospects. If you've got a clear head and a sense of responsibility, you can get to be a signalman, inspector, or maybe even a station master. Your time as a porter will give you the required footing to enable you to progress to other roles. Take this chap in the signal box, for example. He started his railway career as a station porter. Now he's a signalman, in charge of 2 or so miles of mainline and sidings that come under his control. He was accepted into the railway signalling school. Here he undertook a series of classroom sessions, followed by a medical and several weeks' practical training. There's a lot of responsibility in this role. They're just as much in command as the driver on the footplate or the station master on the station. To be a signalman can be quite a lonely job at times, but that's not to say he's not part of the team. For he communicates with other signalmen through a series of bells, codes and telegraph wires, and reports to control through the means of a telephone. It's like a secret language for signalmen that's not so secret. He has to know each code off by heart and route each train through his section according to the working timetable. It's like a big game of pass the parcel. Many parcels, in fact, as in the case of this goods train.
Hello, Leicestershire, 448 left, right time. Thank you. Hello, Control. Quorn and Woodhouse signal box. 448, passing right time. Hello, switching sidings. Hi, Control. Listen, Larry, I need you to loop the 448.
If a career on the footplate is more your thing, then the place to start is down the locomotive sheds. Here you'll get hands-on with the locomotives and get to know the various parts and workings. You could even get involved in the growing number of diesels. Just look at that power handle. Fancy a go on that? To be a cleaner is to be on the first step of the long ladder to becoming a driver. To train to be a fireman could take months, years even. So your time in this job is a chance for you to demonstrate your commitment and satisfy the inspectors that they can invest themselves in you. Applying yourself at this early stage in your career puts you in a good stead for a long career on the footplate. Of course, none of these locomotives would be able to run if it wasn't for the many people of the locomotive works, comprising fitters, fabricators, machinists, and so on, both steam and diesel. These folk know locomotives like the back of their hand, and all work together to keep their pistons moving and wheels turning. Trains aren't much use without lines to run on, so let's take a look at the typical length of mainline track. Like many other lengths, it carries traffic of all kinds. Fast passenger trains, mineral trains, freight trains, and pickups. Yes, traffic of all sorts. For traffic of such weights and speeds, the track requires a very high standard of maintenance. All traffic imposes strains on the line, which can only be spotted by the watchful eye of the length gang. It is the job of the length gang to inspect their length regularly, notice the small faults before they develop, and have them attended to. They ensure every joint is tight, every sleeper is packed, and every chair is keyed. If riding on trains is more your thing, then you may wish to look at being a guard. But like in so many other areas of the railway, you've got to work up to it. This chap used to be a porter too, and now that he's a guard, he's in charge of the train. Most people think he only waves a flag and does this sort of thing. But his is a very responsible job. He has to look out for all the signals and be familiar with a mass of rules and regulations, so that he knows exactly what to do in the event of an emergency. He's guarding a goods train here, but his mainstay are the many passenger trains that run up and down this line. It's also his job to work with the ticket inspector, who sees to the passengers' needs. There's another important role. He's like a mobile clerk of sorts, and the face of the railway for travelling passengers. How often do you take notice of the many items of rolling stock on the railways, from carriages to goods wagons? All these need looking after too, and this is down to the people of the railway's various carriage and wagon departments. These people can pull apart a goods van and put it back together again before you even had time to address a parcel. They look after all sorts of rolling stock. Van wides, mineral wagons, container flats, steel highs, all sorts. And then of course there are the people who look after the vehicles with rubber wheels as well. But whatever the job you choose, what brings all these people together is a united affection for the steam locomotive, and an overwhelming love for all things railway. No matter how big your commitment to the role, or how small your job may seem, this is your opportunity to play your part in a much bigger machine. Whether it's working behind the scenes in the railway offices,
Loughborough Central Inquiries Office. How may I help you?
or serving teas, cakes and silver service in the railway's many refreshment and dining facilities. The railways need you. Much of the work to keep the railways moving happens behind the scenes, in the jobs the public don't normally see, both day and night. I often think the railway comes alive at night, and there's a lot that could be said about all these jobs that go towards keeping the romance of the railway alive. This romance can be experienced in all corners of the railway, an infectious draw that creeps into the hearts and souls of many a railway worker. Many years ago, Alexander Anderson, poet and platelayer, tried to get to the heart of it when he once wrote, "Hurrah for the mighty engine as he pounds along the track. Hurrah for the life that's in him with his breath so thick and black. And hurrah for our fellows who in our need could fashion a thing like him, with a heart of fire and a soul of steel, and a Samson in every limb." For the railways to keep moving today, a vast amount of cooperation is required from a very large number of people. And as we have seen, there are a growing number of opportunities to get involved, and many different paths that may be taken. The work is varied, rewarding and challenging, but without these people, the railway simply wouldn't exist. It would have no future. That's the beauty of the railway today. There's something to suit everyone. Wherever you've come from, whatever your background, whoever you are, whatever it is you want to do. Depending on how hard you work, your application to the role depends on the reward you get out of it. But what of the future? When I was at school, our history master was always on about something called the Renaissance, round about 1400. What he meant was that there'd been a rebirth in learning, building, architecture, painting and so on. Well, there's a rebirth going on in the railways right now. Stations once closed in favour of buses are waking from a slumber once put on them when Britain turned her back on the country station. This station in Nottinghamshire was built to serve the local golf course, and is just one example of what happens when people get together and move forward. Much of the exercise in looking after a station is in planning and organisation, so if you like working as a member of a closely coordinated team, you can get a lot of satisfaction out of this job. Still more when you're the gaffer and have to organise it all. Just like other stations on this line, once opened it's going to require a lot of people to keep it all going. Porters to see to the passengers, clerks to sell the tickets, inspectors to see to the trains, gardeners to tend to the plants. There's much more to running a station than meets the eye, but thanks to the people behind this rebirth, this station looks to have a bright future, and will soon hear the old familiar panting approach of steam engines once more. And all this is just the beginning. The railway is going to see quite a number of changes in the coming years, and the day isn't far off when there'll be quite a few wishing they'd joined in when they had their chance. The future of rail depends on you.